Hi, hello everyone. I'm Azara, and this is another episode of my podcast, La Revoltosa. In today's episode, I talk about where I am with my project after the meeting we had on Tuesday and after yesterday's class with David. And what we did at his class, obviously, yesterday. So I will start with what we did at his class. So we did some exercises based in this book. This is the first book I ever bought about acting, and it's really good. So I recommend anyone who's into acting or would like to know a bit more about acting to buy this book, which is the book by Michael Checkov, and the title is To the Actor on the Technique of Acting. It is a very practical book. It is full of exercises and what I'm taking out of this book, it's the importance of the connection the actor has with their bodies, and something I found very interesting when I read this book. So they talk about something very good to do as an actor is yoga, and I'm a yoga teacher, and I have to say I completely agree with that. As a yoga teacher, like, you come to have a really well understanding of your body, so you're very easy to focus, to put your head in your stomach or in your shoulder or in your hand, so you can really see these little parts of your body. And so as for instance, one of the exercises we did yesterday was having different parts of our body leading the movement. So we did like the hand or wrist, we did it so all the movement was coming from here, or we did the knee, and then we were encouraged to find different parts of the body to carry the movement. So I did my shoulders, my hips, and the top of my head. David was asking us if we wanted, we could do which one was the part of the body that was leading the movement of our main character of the project, of the story that we are doing for this semester. And as well, how can you, so when you're doing the exercise, you do it 100%, and then you can bring it down to 50, 20. So it's still there. Perhaps it's not that obviously seeing that part of the body is the one leading your movement, but still it'll be there, and your character will have that characteristic of that part of the movement leading your walking, your movement, and so that will affect as well if you're speaking. So for instance, I noticed my shoulders were leading, so my walk was very erratic, and I felt as if I was a bit drunk. And Shanae, one of my classmates, she mentioned that, and I had that feeling as well, as if the different parts of my body that were leading the movement had a personality, so I was just following them. So it was a very interesting exercise to do. I really like it. And yeah, so my suggestion, buy the book or read it, get it in the library, and do the exercises, because it's really helpful. And then we did an exercise about the perfect movement, I think based in Stanislavski. And so my idea when I did that exercise was about, so the perfection, it came to me into bold, like circle, as the perfect shape that it can be created. And then through that shape, it went into a very philosophical aspect, because I was just thinking about the perception the perception we have of perfection in life in general, or how we perceive the need to be perfect, and then how evolving or like getting older, I would say, rather than evolving. Yes, evolving as well, most of us. How do you understand that perfection, it's just an idea, that it doesn't really exist outside, but it exists inside of you. So we are perfect as we are, and if any issues or difficulties we have in life are part of that perfection. So it became very philosophical. I was very surprised, I have to be honest, that it came that way, but I guess that's how I was feeling. And then about my performance, where I am. So today is actually a bit difficult for me to talk about it, because I'm in a very unpleasant place, and it's creating a lot of difficulties, I would say. So we had a meeting the other day, and as I understood from the meeting, so we can show something the 5th, which is the day I have my presentation. We can just show a part of our project, and that the main idea of the project is not the final product, but to show the research that you're doing and what you have based yourself for your research. So in that regard, so after thinking a bit, as I decided last week, after performing what I had prepared and the feedback I got, I've decided not to go ahead with it, and to change my performance. Research is the same one. I was just thinking to show my project in a different way. And so it was said as well, like we had a possibility to do a video. So I was just thinking of like, what could I do realistically for a performance, like theatrical performance, in 2 weeks' time, understanding my work commitments and my disponibility and availability during that time. And although it was not really what I wanted to do from the beginning, because it's taken out of my original idea and taking myself out of things I wanted to explore, I just thought, just to be realistic, and perhaps doing something that it could be not so complex, and I could perform within 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And so I was thinking about that. And then I was thinking about, so I thought about doing a monologue, as the show is one-person show, and doing a monologue and telling the story in a different way, because the main aim of my performance is to make the audience question about the topic I'm talking about. And so I wrote that monologue. Now I'm a person that's, for me, it's very easy to get ideas, get the visuals, but I'm not a writer. I've never been a writer, and I don't think I'm gonna ever be a writer. So I find very challenging the writing part of it, because for me, it's just easier either to perform it or to think of the surroundings of how it's gonna look, rather than writing what I'm going to say and people are going to find interesting the script. So I said that from the beginning. I'm finding that very challenging, and so I wrote that monologue, but I felt it was not really, I felt it was not really what I wanted to do. And so I continued researching and looking for a different idea, because with a monologue, if I was doing the monologue, then my idea of immersive theater was disappearing, and the idea of masks was disappearing. So many of the things I wanted to try were disappearing. So I decided to stay with the immersive theater. And then I was thinking, okay, if you want to do immersive theater, and a way to perhaps in this performance precisely, particularly to make sure it's gonna work, is just make sure some audience members, some members of the audience will participate in your performance now, because the performance is done within the university, and there are the performances that same day. So I thought there's a big chance that they are going to be other actors coming to see my performance, and it's most likely that they will participate. So I came with this idea of because the audience will be taken out of the studio while we're preparing the performances, setting up the performance, sorry. So I thought, okay, when they're gonna make them come over, so I will get them to choose either red or green card, so they know it's a performance that requires the audience participation, and them themselves will choose to participate or not in the performance. And I would know at that point if I would have people participating and how many people would be participating. And so I thought of a performance I really liked, different topic, different situation, but I thought it could work. And it was a performance that Marina Abramovich did at the MoMA, where she was sitting on the chair beside the table, and it was another chair in front of her, and people would come and sit down on the chair, and they would not speak, and then the person would stand up and leave whenever they wanted. So because my topic is about the change of the relationship during the pandemic within a family, and obviously friends or acquaintances, and the role that the screen time has in the change of this relationship, understanding screen time for internet, YouTube, and social media. So what I thought was to create, I brought different questions about this topic to be asked. So my idea was to give the audience the opportunity to choose either if they wanted to answer the question, or if they wanted me to answer the question, which it could be scripted. My answers could be scripted, and they could be part of the as well of the performance. And because I have some elements of video I wanted to include, so I thought perhaps including some elements of video, so giving the option of like we look at the video or you put some music. So with the idea as well, like the performance could be different depending on the audience member, the members of the audience that would participate in my performance, of their answers and decisions, what they wanted to do. And I was quite pleased with this idea, and following my research and reading a bit more about Marina Abramovich, which of whom I knew already from previous years, and from her work, seeing her work at museums, and following a bit of what she has done. And so I came to realize of one of the performances that she did, she was mentioning that she was singing Serbian folklore, and and it perhaps represented the difficult uprising she had in Serbia during the communism, and how difficult her mother was with her when she was growing. And so I thought that point, it rang something inside of me, because what I've noticed when I was developing my performance and my project, it was naturally coming to do something very traditional of Spain, my born land, my place of birth, my country of origin, and I just something clicked. So I realized, I think I realized when you're talking about a topic that is so personal and you put in so much inside of you, so it seems to be natural that it's coming, your roots are coming out. And in my performance, so what I was devising was to implement a bit of flamenco. And I have to say, I'm not a flamenco dancer. I've never been. Of course, I know a few beats here and there, but it's not. When I was in Spain, it's not that I was doing flamenco. So it was coming to do that, and it was coming to sing cante hondo, which is a type of singing that you would see in flamenco, and you would see during the parades in Easter, and like some very well-known singers of a particular time in Spain, they were not doing exactly that, but their type of music was going into that vibe. And my mother used to listen at that type of music sometimes. So I just thought I wanted to explore this connection I found by chance, I have to say, with the work of Marina Abramovic. And so after we have the meeting, and I understood we can do a part of it, and because my personal circumstances, so ideally, so what is easier for me, it's to do a video, so I can not be present on the 5th. So I thought that idea, that I really like it, to do that performance, immersive theater, in video doesn't really work. It's something to do with people, because it's the idea of the performance changes all the time, each time you do it. And so, because as I understood, we just had to do a part of our project. And I'm very grateful to have a great artist helping me with the performance, with the visual, with the camera. So I thought to do the movement part of the performance, which I'm very keen on doing, and to show the 5th, the world of the feelings. And with the world of feelings, then having there the portrait of the masks that you use in life, and then it can be applied for theater, and perhaps exploring different ways of portraying emotions. And I was thinking in the aesthetic of similar to the aesthetic of the Chien Andalusi, or the films of that period, that they were feeling a bit, influenced by the surrealism. And then just to bold everything and to put everything together. So I thought to still doing the things of my research. So if the main issue or the main focus is like to show our research, what it's about, so using different formats of my research, like the research focusing in different, doing the research focused on different influences. So for instance, doing this part that, as I said, about the influenced by the performance of Marina Abramovic, but as well influenced by realism and by a way of doing theater or writing scripts that come out from a questionnaire. We saw a film with Tom Hardy that it was done in London, and that's how the script was done. So influenced by that, and then working with a mask. I was yesterday making some masks, so as well, like the world of the masks and that how can be understood within my research of physical masks and digital masks and unseen masks that we wear every day, and how we use those masks during the pandemic and after the pandemic, and based in the film The Life is Beautiful as an example of using those masks. So I came with that idea, and then having all these little pieces all together in internet, in social media, and making a little game of showing these little pieces depending on the answers, of like the choices of the interaction of the audience in social media, in TikTok and Instagram. Carrie was showing me a very nice, interesting design of a project in Instagram. So tagging, you were creating different accounts and you were tagging different accounts, and then if you were clicking on it, it was taking you to another account. So it's kind of a linear way to tell a story through Instagram without the audience member being aware of it's all created and it's all part of the same project. So I loved that when she told me about it, and now I'm very keen to explore that. So I thought I could do that in my project. So I'm closing as well my research that spontaneously happened in social media. So just I met Daigo, the artist who is helping me with the camera, with the visual, and we were discussing about how we're gonna do the movement and how we're gonna do the filming and the story about it. And so then I went to the class and I shared what I was thinking about doing. And again, I don't know if it's me not really understanding the feedback, but I had this impression that that's not what I'm supposed to do, and like I'm going to do that, what I was going to do for the fifth. So I felt honestly very deflated, and because I'm really putting a lot of effort on this project, trying to modify something with an idea I came like a long time ago. I came about the idea of what I wanted to do. Jack challenged me of changing a bit the story to make it more interesting. And my way of working is like, I work piece by piece. I'm not working in a full story, because like for me, it's more about the emotion of what I'm talking about rather than, oh, this is happening and it's going there. So I guess I just have a different way of working. So yeah, I've been getting bits from here and there, thinking, oh, that can work. I'd really like it for the theater, because I was originally thinking for theater. So like, yes, that can work. It can bring that space and setting up the space of pain that I want to talk about, and how you change about it. What is making these feelings, what's happening with these feelings, and where it's taking you, and what is the realization you're having after this period, and what have you done about it, and how that has made you change or not now post-pandemic. I'm reading some reports psychological reports of the consequences of the pandemic in families with children. And so I'm getting my data from there, and I'm getting my data through talking to people I know. So what I was thinking as well yesterday is like, again, following my research in social media, or to prove something, trying to prove, or like to see if my idea is right or is wrong. So asking social media for collaboration if like people want to answer the questionnaire I had for that performance. So I was really happy with all this. I thought it can work. I think it can be a very interesting project. My creativity is like all over the place. I'm very happy to do it. Every little thing I'm doing is like, I'm considering it as a performance. So yesterday when I was doing the masks, I was filming it to make a performance out of that. Same as filming, doing the masks with children. So really happy about it. But then yesterday I understood this feedback in a way that it's not very clear what I want to do. So I felt very difficult. I was like, okay, I've been thinking about it for a long time, since things have changed, and trying to adapt, and since my ideas are not good. So just to make things, I don't know if easier or like crystal clear, or just so at the end of the class yesterday I said like, okay, I'm just gonna do a short of one day in the life of a mother and a child during the pandemic, and I will be focusing on the points I've been reading about in the psychological reports of things that changed during the pandemic. So I will portray that, and again, like I will portray the feelings. Like for me, it's more about feelings to be seen. So that's what I said yesterday I'm going to do, which means like, but it's still that I would do that for the 5th, and it's still I still want to do my idea of like showing my research and what I have been influenced by in my research, and how to portray that in these different bits that then they will be linked in my social media or in a social media format, and the common. So with the idea of basing myself in films like Four Rooms or American Beauty, so different stories that they have one link in common. So the link is me. Sorry, it's like, it's this my project, so I think it's obvious. The link is, I'm gonna be the link, but as well the link is like the topic I'm talking about and I'm researching. So the link is the point of the research, not a story done in different formats. And I think I'm going with that. And so now I find myself in this situation. Like yesterday I was talking again with Tycho, the artist who's helping me with the visual, and saying, okay, so if we're not doing this, we're doing that. So as well, like changing so many times, it's just becoming a bit tiring and exhausting. and as well, the challenge of writing the script. I've done storyboards before based on the script. As I said, I'm more visual, so that's what it works for me. And so now I find the challenge of like having to write a script without having much idea of how to write a script, but I hope it's gonna work. I hope it's gonna be okay. But yeah, I'm unfortunately, that's what I said. Like, I'm just being honest, and I'm doing my weekly videos and podcast about where I am with the class, what we're doing during the class, and where I am with my project. And unfortunately, today's episode, it's not like bubbling and happy, because I feel a bit down, if I'm honest, with with everything what is happening with this project. And since the day I showed what I had in mind and I was thinking to do, so it's becoming hard. It's just a bit hard. It is not impossible. So it's just it's a challenge, and a challenge in many different ways. So I'm taking it as that, as a challenge in many different ways, from doing it, creating it, and accepting it psychologically as well. And I'm taking it as well as a challenge within a learning setting. So a challenge that will help me in a real life setting. So I'm positive about it, and I have started devising the look of the short, of how I want it to be seen, the vibe I want. And then, well, it's just I have left writing the short, the script, and doing the storyboard. So that's what I'm gonna be doing today, and I hope to be able to shoot it either this weekend or not long after, because yeah, I'm working as well, so it's just a bit challenging with the time. But I really hope to be able to do what I have in mind. What I really want with my with this is, like, honestly making people think about their priorities and their life and their behavior and their values. So if I get that, if I get people to think about it, even if they don't like what I've done, but at least I make them think about it, I'll be happy. Thank you so much. That has been everything for today. I will see you in my next episode next week. Thank you.